There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello lovely people, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a review of The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy, which was a long-listed book for the Man Booker Prize, which, to my chagrin, did not make the short list. I sure picked a challenging novel for my BookTube book review debut, but here goes nothing. I have not read her first and only other novel from 1997, The God of Small Things, but I hear it's wonderful and I certainly will be reading it next. The first thing I need to make clear is how I experienced this novel, which I read over about a 3-week period and finished last week. I did this as my infamous audio text combo. So there wasn't one sentence in this book that I did not read while hearing Arundhati Roy read to me in my ears. So that was a wonderful way to experience this novel in particular because of all the difficult words. Some readers would say, and do say, that the structure is a mess. Others would say it's just inscrutably amazing, and I guess I would fall into the latter camp. The story opens with the main character, or one of the main characters, who is Anjum, who is a transgendered intersex woman, young girl, who, despite her mother's best efforts to care for her in a Muslim family in Delhi, Anjum finds her own people, the Hijra, the transgendered intersex community in India, and she lives in their house with them and discovers herself anew. We are taken deep into that tight-knit community with outsized personalities and the various conflicts and friendships and relationships that form, and it's absolutely riveting. And that's about the first third of the novel, and then we get suddenly a whole new cast of characters. This novel, The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, keeps frustrating the reader's desire for narrative flow and narrative continuity. And I think Arundhati Roy knew what she was up to, and that was purposeful, and that is what causes many a reader big problems with this book. Not I. And I am not doing a superior dance here. Please hear me out. Anyway, so we're introduced to Tilo, a young woman who, the more you read about Arundhati Roy, is somewhat modeled on the novelist's own life experience. Tilo is the illegitimate child of a father from the untouchable caste in India and a Syrian Christian mother. And we see Tilo, who is incredibly fascinating, unique, deeply questioning woman. We see her in her university days befriend 3 men, and each fall in love with her, and she has a series of relationships with them through the course of the novel. And through this we are introduced to the Kashmir conflict. Backdrop is far too flimsy of a word. And eventually, at the very end, Roy brings all the characters together. And I would say from the objective criteria of narrative closure, of how a conventional novel works, it's not particularly satisfying how she does that. But if you're sucked in at the level at which I was, it doesn't matter. The first little quote I want to share, and this is from near the beginning. There's a Hijra woman at the house where Anjum is living that says something rather depressing. She says that she believes that God made Hijra as an experiment. He decided to create something, a living creature that isn't capable of happiness. So he made us. Let me read a slightly longer quote from around the same point in the novel, which I think, for me, was the key to what Arundhati Roy is up to. It's the same Nemo, the same Hijra character speaking. "Who's happy here? It's all sham and fakery," Nemo said laconically, not bothering to look up from the magazine. "No one's happy here. It's not possible. Ariyar, think about it. What are the things you normal people get unhappy about? I don't mean you, but grown-ups like you. What makes them unhappy? Price rise, children's school admissions, husbands' beatings, wives' cheatings, Hindu-Muslim riots, Indo-Pak war. Outside things that settle down eventually. But for us, the price rise and school admissions and beating husbands and cheating wives are all inside us. The riot is inside us. The war is inside us. Indo-Pak is inside us. It will never settle down. It can't." For me, this was a key passage because I think that distinction that Nemo makes, that all the normal people, there's a name given to them. I don't know if it's Urdu word or a Hindi word. Dunia. In the real world, the normal world, everything's external. All the problems are external, but for the Hijra, it's an irresolvable inner conflict. Roy complicates that and shows, I think, that all of these social, political issues that make India such a unjust, tragic, and fascinating place, they are all inside her characters. Hindu, Muslim, Hijra, male, female, supporter of the Indian regime, Kashmiri militant. She, who spent 20 years not writing fiction or primarily doing activist work in India and writing active political books and articles. The last sentence I want to quote from the book, a character says, "People aren't very good at other people's pain." And if this novel was anything, and if this novel works for you, that's it. Arundhati Roy took 20 years to step back and fight and militate, and she has woven a story that encompasses all of that. And she says, if you want to get excited and emotionally invested in my characters, you have to take it all on. I didn't get it. I got maybe 65% of it, but at no point was I anything other than fascinated and absorbed. I never questioned what she was up to, and that's rare because I'm a very cynical reader. I can lose faith in where an author's taking me very easily, perhaps too easily, but this one, no way. I didn't fall in love with the characters. My emotional investment in them really did flow from the full picture that Arundhati Roy created, and I loved it. That is my review of Arundhati Roy's The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Thanks for watching.